there! I am your teacher John, your science teacher. Are you now ready for a more fun and meaningful learning experience in amazing science? Today, look at yourself, learning your module. We are now on Module 7 of Quarter 2 lessons in Science Grade 7. In this module, the most essential learning competency is to demonstrate an understanding of an organism's interacting with each other and with their environment, and the biotic and abiotic components of an ecosystem. Reviewing the previous topic in previous module, how do the living things reproduce? These are the modes of the reproduction in order to continue the cycle of life in our environment. First, sexual reproduction. It involves two parents of opposite gender, or it gives rise to offspring that are a combination of the traits from its parents like human. Asexual reproduction. It involves only a single parent or gives rise to offspring that are identical to the parent like vegetative propagation. Look and study the different pictures. What are the different organisms found in the pictures? In which place where each of the organisms can survive? Mushrooms. It will grow on decaying woods or rotten logs. Bear. They live in a very cold place or known as Arctic. Crab. It will grow either in fresh water like river or salty water like ocean. Monkey. They live in forest area where there are more sources of their food. What do you call the place where each organism live? Habitat is the place where they live, grow, and produce of their own same kind. Have you seen growing plants on your backyard? Look! What do you think makes this plant to grow? These are the things needed by the plant to grow. First, the soil. Second, carbon dioxide. Third, water. Fourth, sunlight. And lastly, nutrients. Now, you already knew what makes the plant grow. Let us enhance your understanding on biotic and abiotic components of our ecosystem. After working on the activities in this module, you are expected to 1. Define abiotic and biotic components of ecosystem. 2. Identify abiotic and biotic components of ecosystem. 3. Cite the importance of abiotic and biotic components of an ecosystem. And 4. Describe the important functions of some biotic and abiotic components. And lastly, differentiate between biotic and abiotic components. Are you now excited to learn? Then let's get started! This is a sample quadrant containing living organisms known as biotic components of ecosystem. These biotic components live in a small quadrant where there are other important components known as abiotic components, such as soil, sunlight, water, and nutrients. What are the living organisms in a quadrant? These are paragraphs, bugs, ants, and earthworms. What do you call these living organisms in a quadrant? These living organisms are biotic components that occupy an ecosystem in our environment. What is the most numbered living organism? Paragraphs. What living organism is the least? Bug. What non-living things help the living organisms to live? These are soil, water, sunlight, nutrients, and carbon dioxide. What do you call these non-living things? Abiotic components. Abiotic components are non-living things necessary for the living things to continue their life cycle. What we have learned today. Ecosystem consists of two important components. First, biotic. Biotic components are components that have life, such as human being, animals, plants, insects, and microorganisms. Second, abiotic are components that have no life, such as water, soil, sunlight, gases, nutrients, and temperature. I'm really sure that you can perform a very simple activity in the next part of our lesson because you have already knowledge on living and non-living things in our environment. Please open your learning module on What's More part. Here, you will give examples of biotic and abiotic components in each given ecosystem. Let's try to do this. What are the possible living and non-living components found in the following ecosystem? For forest, the possible biotic components are monkey and snake. And the possible abiotic components are water and rocks. For ocean, the possible biotic components are whale and seaweeds. And the abiotic components are water and rocks. For river, the possible biotic components are shrimp and crab. And the possible abiotic components are water and rocks. For fish pond, the possible biotic components are mudfish and water lily. And the possible abiotic components are water and soil. And lastly, vegetable garden. The possible biotic components are vegetables and insects. And the possible abiotic factors or components are water and sunlight. Those are the possible living and non-living components found in those ecosystems. Are the living things found in one ecosystem the same with what you have found in other ecosystems? Yes, almost similar in components available in each ecosystem, such as water and rocks found in forest, ocean, and river. In ponds and garden, similar components such as soil and sunlight needed by plants to survive. This time, I am going to check if how quick you are to answer the following as abiotic or biotic component. You will say biotic or abiotic. Number 1. Air. What is your answer? Correct! The answer is abiotic. Number 2. Bird. What is your answer? Good job! The answer is biotic. Number 3. Fire. What is your answer? Very good! The answer is abiotic. Number 4. Grass. What is your answer? You got it right! The answer is biotic. And lastly, number 5. Lightning. What is your answer? Amazing! The answer is abiotic. This time, we will have another activity. Please look at the picture and analyze if what will happen to the living things inside. What do you think will happen to the snail and fish in the jar? The two organisms will survive because the things they need are within the jar. What things in the jar help sustain life for fish and snail? What do you think? Plants, which provide essential needs such as oxygen and food for fish and snail. Water, which serves as their habitat. Are there other things outside the jar can affect the lives of fish and snail? Do you have any idea? Yes, such as sunlight, temperature, and nutrients. It shows that size of a place doesn't matter for an organism to survive, as long as their needs are available from its surrounding. Living things like fish interacts with a non-living thing like water to live. There is an interaction between biotic and abiotic components in an ecosystem. Do you already have an idea about the role of abiotic factors to biotic factors in our environment? Congratulations! Let us check your understanding. Describe the essential role of the following. First is water. Water is one of the most important abiotic factors that carry life to all living things. It covers the largest part of the world, such as the ocean, rivers, lakes, and other bodies of water which are considered the habitats of marine organisms. It is a component that completes the process of food making in plants, which known as photosynthesis. Second, sunlight. Sunlight is another necessary abiotic factor in an ecosystem. It plays a vital role in photosynthesis in order for the plants to sustain the production of food for other living organisms. Without this factor, few organisms will be able to survive. Third, oxygen. Oxygen is also an abiotic factor produced by plants that support breathing among humans and animals. It helps decompose decaying matters around us. Fourth, temperature. Temperature, which is either hot or cold, determines the kind of living organisms that can survive in a certain place. Fifth, soil. Soil is an abiotic factor where the plants grow and live. It contains rock fragments and nutrients coming from the remains of decaying bodies. It is also a home for different microorganisms and living organisms like plants. Sixth, Minerals or nutrients. Minerals or nutrients such as vitamins and proteins from the soil are abiotic factors needed by plants and animals for their growth. 7th, animals. Animals and human beings are alike in many ways. They are also biotic components that compose the ecosystem and help sustain the needs of other living organisms. Animals get food from the ecosystem such as plants, insects, and mammals alike, as well as the other forms of prey. 8. Plants. Plants and grasses are also part of the biotic components of an ecosystem. They provide food and other important elements like oxygen to humans and animals. They also become source of shelter and other materials in the ecosystem. And lastly, bacteria. Bacteria and decomposers are also biotic components that help break down the remains of other living organisms, converting them into nutrients found in soil. Did you all understand our lesson today? Wonderful! Let us answer the following questions. Number 1. A plant needs water, radiant energy, minerals, oxygen, and carbon dioxide to live. How are these requirements needed by plants categorized? A. Climate. B. Minerals. C. Biotic components. Letter D. Abiotic components. What is your answer? Very good! The answer is letter D. Abiotic components. Number 2. Which of the following represents an abiotic component of the environment? Letter A. Flowing lava. Letter B. Cat nursing its young. Letter C. Sprouting mango seeds. And letter D. Growing grasses on mountain. What is your answer? Correct! The answer is letter A. Flowing lava. Number 3. Which of the following are needed in setting up an aquarium as a mini ecosystem? Letter A. A number of fish in water only. Letter B. Combination of water, sand, soil, and light. Letter C. Population of fish, snails, and plants only. And letter D. Communities of different species of organisms, water, sand, soil, and sunlight. What is your answer? Wonderful! The answer is letter D. Communities of different species of organisms, water, sand, soil, and sunlight. Number 4. On which abiotic factors would varieties of fish and seaweeds rely for their survival? Letter A. Insects and sun. Letter B. Water and corals. Letter C. Water and temperature. Letter D. Solid particles and temperature. What is your answer? Amazing! The answer is letter C. Water and temperature. Number 5. Which of the following is an abiotic factor produced by plants? A. Flower. B. Fruit. C. Oxygen. Letter D. Stem. What is your answer? Good job! The answer is letter C, oxygen. Number 6. One of the following statements describes biotic factors in an ecosystem correctly. Which one is it? A. Gases and water in an area. B. Non-living things in an organism's environment. C. Plants, animals, fungi, and bacteria in an environment. D. Solid materials such as rock and soil found everywhere. What is your answer? Excellent! The answer is letter C, plants, animals, fungi, and bacteria in an environment. 7. What do you call the living components of the environment such as humans, animals, and plants? A. Biosphere. B. Ecosystem. C. Biotic factors. D. Abiotic factors. What is your answer? That's right. The answer is letter C, biotic factors. Number 8. How will you classify the factors such as sunlight, oxygen, air, and rocks? A. Abiotic. B. Alive. C. Biotic. Letter D. Living. What is your answer? Correct! The answer is letter A. Abiotic. Number 9. Which of the following statements is true? A. All living things are biotic factors. B. Most living things are abiotic factors. C. Some non-living things are biotic factors. D. Living things can either be biotic or abiotic. What is your answer? Nice! The answer is letter A. All living things are biotic factors. Number 10. All of the items below are abiotic, except A. Grasses. B. Soil. C. Sun. Letter D. Temperature. What is your answer? Good job! The answer is letter A. Grasses. To sum up our lesson for today, what is biotic? What is a biotic component? How will you differentiate biotic from abiotic component? What are the following examples of biotic? How about abiotic? How important are the biotic components to abiotic components? Explain your answer. Congratulations everyone for the very good job today. I told you, science is an amazing subject. You have demonstrated your understanding on biotic and abiotic components of our ecosystem very well. Give yourself a round of applause. I hope you had a great time and learned a lot from this lesson. This is your teacher John saying, never stop learning. Soar high for excellence. Sulong edukalidad.